Hi everyone, welcome to this channel Ace Code Academy. Today we are going to see generalization and specialization in DBMS. Then what is generalization in DBMS? Basically, generalization works on the principle of bottom-up approach. In generalization, lower level functions are combined to form higher level functions, which is called as entities. This process is repeated further to make advanced level entities. In the generalization process, properties are drawn from particular entities and thus we can create a generalized entity. We can summarize generalization process as it combines subclasses to form superclass. Okay? So what is a generalization? Basically, generalization is a bottom-up approach. So here you can see this arrow, bottom-up approach. The arrow is shown like this, bottom to up. Okay, see the direction, it is from starting from bottom and it is going upwards. So this is what called as bottom-up approach. The generalization is a bottom-up approach. Basically here, what is a generalization process? Basically, it is going to combine the lower level entities or the subclasses to form a higher level entity or the superclass. Okay? Lower level entities are combined to form a higher level entity, or we can say the subclasses are combined to form a superclass. Let's see the real life example in this. Okay? So here we say, when someone says social media, what comes to your mind? Obviously, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and so on. In short, if we want to talk about social media in general, we generalize and refer to them as social media. This method of combining multiple lower-level entities of similar kind and referring to them as a single higher-level entity is what we know as generalization. It is what known as generalization. Okay? So basically what it is telling, the lower level entities over here. Okay? Basically Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn, these are what the lower level entities. And if I say that, if I ask someone, what is this? So obviously, what comes into your mind is nothing but social media. Okay? That means what? We are combining multiple lower level entities of similar kind, right? Of similar kind. And we are making a higher level entity. And this process is called as generalization process. Let's see the diagram of this. So here you can see example of generalization. Consider two entities, student and patient. Okay? These two entities will have some characteristics of their own. Okay, characteristic, the attributes, the features of their own. Student is going to have its own features, patient is going to have its own features. Okay, let's see the example over here. Student entity type will have attributes like roll number, name, and mobile number, right? Likewise, the patient entity type will have patient ID, name, and mobile number as the characteristics or the attribute. Okay, so how many entities we are seeing here? We are having two entities. One is called as student type entity and the another one is what? Patient type entity. And obviously, these two entities have their own features like roll number, name, and mobile number of student, patient ID, name, and mobile number for the patient entity type. Okay. Now, in this example, name and mobile number of both student and patient can be combined as a person to form one higher level entity, and this process is called as generalization process. So basically here you can see in the student entity the name, okay, name and mobile number. Likewise here also in the patient, name and mobile number. Okay, so basically what you can see here, we can take these two features to combine and tell that this belongs to a person, right? That means what we are telling here, we are combining two lower level entity type to form a higher level entity type, that is what called as person. Okay, and this process of combining the lower level entities to make a higher level entity is called as generalization process. Okay, so this is what the example of generalization. Okay, so here this is what bottom up approach. You can see this arrow, bottom up approach. Person is the higher level entity here, is a student and patient. Student have its own attribute like roll number, name, and mobile number. Patient have its own attribute, patient ID, name, and mobile number. Person itself is having got name and mobile number. So based on this, it has uh, the common features from student and patient, right? That is name and mobile number. Here also name and mobile number. So depending upon this, the two lower level entities are combined to form a higher level entities person with the name and mobile number as the attribute. Okay, so this is what the concept of generalization. Let's see now what is the meaning of specialization. Okay, we can say that specialization is opposite of generalization. In specialization, things are broken down into smaller things to simplify it further. Again, we can also say that in specialization, a particular entity gets divided into sub-entities and it is done on the basis of its characteristics. Also in specialization, inheritance takes place. Okay, so basically what is a specialization? Specialization is exactly opposite to the generalization. Basically here what we are doing, we are breaking down the higher level entity into further lower level entities, okay? Or basically we are breaking down the superclass into subclasses, okay, depending upon the characteristics. And it is going to implement the concept of inheritance. Like we can say here the concept of parent and child, okay? Parent features are inherited by the children. Okay, parent features are inherited by the children. Okay, so that means what from the higher level entity, features are taken into the lower level entity, that is what called as child entity type. Okay, next example of specialization is what? A software developer is a person who can develop software. Now the software can be a web application, a mobile application, or a desktop application. Hence we can have developers specializing in a particular field, whether it's web application, mobile application, or desktop application. Okay, so here what I'm trying to tell you are, this is what the example of specialization, and what specialization is telling us that we are going to break down one entity into sub-entities, right? Like here the example I have taken, एक software developer है, ठीक है? वो develops a software, right? But software कौन से तरह के होते हैं? What are the types of software? Those can be web applications, those can be mobile applications, or a desktop application, right? So depending upon this type of softwares, obviously there are different types of developers specializing in a particular field, whether it is a web application developer, whether it is a mobile application developer, or whether it is a desktop application developer, right? So this is how you can see the diagram, and this approach is called as top-down approach, okay? The arrow is indicating this approach is a top-down approach. And here you can see software developer is a web developer or mobile developer, okay? Is a web developer or mobile developer. You're getting this? What we have done here, we have broken down this software developer entity into sub-entities called as web developer and mobile developer depending upon the characteristics. Since it is telling what it is a web developer and it is telling what it is a mobile developer. So here you can see the diagram or the structure of generalization and specialization is same, okay? After applying generalization and specialization, the structure of resultant figures are same. But the concept is what? Different. But the concept is what? Different. Because generalization is a bottom-up approach. Specialization is a top-down approach. You're getting this? And in generalization, what we do, we combine the lower level entities to make a higher level entity. And in specialization, we divide the one entity into sub-entities. Okay, we divide one entity into sub-entities, right? So this is what the concept of generalization and specialization. Thank you for watching this video.